gentle people, and welcome to another Sparrow Art Vibes video tutorial. This video focuses on a very simple and easy to make home decor, holiday decor item, and that would be this heart-shaped propagation station. And they're called propagation stations, let me move this, because they come with a test tube. You cut your plant clippings, put your clipping in the tube, add some water, and you can watch the roots grow. But this makes an ideal centerpiece for any table that you're using for entertaining during the holidays. And here I have 3 that I've already made in some nice, attractive fall colors. This one I think is just gorgeous. The greens, we're going to be doing that again. And the golds, reds, and golds. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is making another propagation station. And these make, again, perfect centerpieces for your tables when you are serving and entertaining. So let's get started with our materials. Okay, so the materials that we need for this project: a heart-shaped resin mold, and it's a 2-piece mold. It has a plug. This plug goes in here like so, and you press it down, and that creates the opening that you need to put the test tube into this vase. So we have our resin mold. Of course, everyone knows Craft Smart is my go-to resin because Michael's always has coupons to make it extremely affordable. So that's the part A resin, and this is the part B hardener. And of course you need a measuring cup to mix your resin. I will be using 4 colors of mica powder plus some crushed glass, so that means I need 5 cups. And I need 5 stir sticks. I need my nitro gloves. And then my mica powders are going to be, since green, Etsy says green, emerald green actually is the color for this year, we're going to deviate a little bit and we're going to use some different greens so that this vase and centerpiece can be used during the holidays but also throughout the year. So we're starting with May Springs Shiny Malachite. Then we're going with a brighter May Spring Green Pyromorphite. What names? My favorite, the Golden Labradorite. And then my second gold this time is going to be Eye Candy Kin Gold. And for a little bit of bling, we're going to be adding some gold crushed glass. And I think that's everything I need. Alrighty, we'll clear this area and get started pouring. Before I begin mixing and pouring my resin, one thing I want to make sure that people are aware of is that there are different kinds of resins for different purposes. This particular mold is 1.5 inches deep. I have watched people in other videos use this casting resin in a mold this deep. You need to make sure you're purchasing the appropriate resin for your project. Craft Smart directions say that it is pourable up to 1/4 of an inch, which means if you're going to fill this thing, what will eventually happen is you will have some cracking. If you're going to be doing deeper molds like this, you actually need to use what's called a deep pour resin. I have the super clear liquid glass, and it says 2 inches to 4 inches thick pour. This is a 2-part resin, but it has a 2-to-1 mixing ratio, which is why you get a big old container here and a little container here. because you're going to be pouring 2 parts of this one, 1 part of this one. But I'm not going to be using the deep pour resin for this particular project because I like the appearance of the 2 colors. So I'll pour 1 layer and then I'll pour the 2nd layer. And I think that adds a little more interest than having it all poured at one time. This takes 200 milliliters, so we're going to do it in 2 pours. 100 milliliters first, and I always mark on my cup where my measurements are. That way I don't get confused or accidentally mispour. So we're going to do 50 milliliters of the Part B hardener. And 50 milliliters of the Part A resin. The Craft Mart instructions say mix for 5 minutes, so the timer is set at 5. I'm going to start mixing and put this on fast forward so you don't have to watch me stir for 5 minutes. Always remember, you are not stirring in a circle. When you do that, the resin in the center does not get mixed. You want to stir back and forth. You want to make sure that you're scraping around the sides of your container, and you want to make sure you're scraping across the bottom of the container. Okay, so here we go, 5 minutes. Okay, so I am going to mix 3 of the 4 colors. So I'm pouring a little bit of resin here, a little bit of resin here, a little bit of resin here. Now for this particular pour, I'm going to save some resin, and I'm actually going to be pouring clear resin into the mold to create some negative space for the crushed glass that I'm going to be adding. So we're going to add a dash of the green pyromorphite. And you only need a little bit of this. This is so rich. This is kind of a moss looking green. It looks almost lime on the package, but when it's mixed, it's very dark. Now we're going to do a dash of the shiny malachite. That almost has sort of a dark teal look to it, but once it's mixed with the mica powder, it's more of a forest green color. And I like the 2 shades of green, one light, one dark. And I'm going to use this Eye Candy Kin Gold. And the clear that I had left over, I'm going to pour into this cup. And I'm going to add the crushed gold glass. Make sure when you're using any of these molds that that attachment in the center that creates the hole for your test tube, make sure that is in there securely, press tightly. Okay, and so now we pour. So I'm going to put the darker color, the darker green on the bottom. And bring that up the side some. And I am going to put my glass my gold next to my glass. And I'm going to add the brighter green at the top. End of my gold. And I'm going to now use my heat gun to pop any air bubbles. And we will allow this to set for about an hour and a half, 2 hours before we add our second layer. If you add your second layer before this hardens, before this actually cures, then you don't get a really solid line. You get kind of a soft line around those edges where they meet. So I like to come back in here in about an hour and a half or so, 2 hours, and then pour my second coat so I don't have a really sharp line. I have kind of a soft line. So that's that for now, and we will be back in 2 hours. Okay, I am back. It's been a couple of hours. This is warm, but it's not going, these colors that I mix now won't blend in. They will be on top, but again, you won't have a sharp line going around the side to show, you'll have sort of a soft line. So we need to mix 50 milliliters of our Part B hardener. Mix that with 50 milliliters of our Part A resin. And once again, we're talking 5 minutes. And I'll just put this on fast forward. Okay, so now we're going to divide this resin into 3 cups. We used eye candy for the first layer, but we're going to use the golden labradite for the second layer. Again, the green pyromorphite. And our shiny malachite. Okay, and now we pour. And again, the dark green at the bottom. We want the gold over this other gold. We want our bright green. End up this dark green. and then the heat gun to pop air bubbles. Wiping the resin off the edges gives you less work to do once this is fully cured. We're just cleaning up these edges. Okay, so now we're going to cover this and allow this to cure overnight. Had a little bit of resin left in the bottom of this container, clear resin, and I'm just going to drop it in here, almost like a teardrop effect. We are the next day, and it's time to take the cover off of this and unmold it and see what we came up with. Okay, there we go. All right, so then we need to get the plug. Get this plug out of here. Okay, so when it comes to finishing this, I think you can see the little piece of resin there. We're going to take our deburring tool, put my hand under that so you can see that. We're going to get rid of that right there. And you remember when I took the toothpick and I went around and cleaned the edges? When I put that popsicle stick underneath this to level it, it actually ran forward. So I have, you can see that ridge right there. That ridge needs to be removed. So we're going to get this all cleaned up. So we're going to start with the cuticle cutter and just trim this around the opening for the test tube. Just take that off of there. Take that off of there. And then just carefully, woo, that's hard. Watch your eyes when you do this, because these pieces are hard. This is cured, so this is like a rock, be a pebble. This is snapping all over my studio. can hear it snap. Ooh, that's hard. I'm going to use our trusty deburring tool. And so to bring this little edge down, we're going to just this is wonderful. Smooth that right out. And then the same for the inside of the hole. And what makes this really great is this head swivels. So when you're inside something that's curved, it really goes around curved edges nicely. This is, you can see inside, see? And now I'll take a sanding block, and that edge is rough, and so we're just going to sand that smooth. Running my finger around just to double check. Everything looks good. Okay, so that's completely, that is super smooth. That's really pretty. These edges are nice and smooth. That opening on both sides is nice and smooth. And the camera, I don't think captures it well, but when you trim, sometimes you wind up with, just this little, I don't know if the camera can capture, that when you trim that resin, it's white. And so what I'm going to do is take some varnish, some gloss varnish, and just go along that edge. Just go along that edge so it's shiny like the rest of the centerpiece. I like the Duracoat gloss coat, and you just need a dab, just a little dab on your brush. Just go along that inside edge. And if you don't want to spend the money on varnish, but you have some gloss nail polish at home, that will work the same. And right here on this edge, where I sanded that, we're just going to put a little varnish on that. Okay, so I think that's it. I think we're done. So I'll get a test tube to put in here and get some dried flowers, and then we'll take some photos and show how beautiful this can be as a centerpiece.